reconstruction, in the ladder of reconstruction. So when we are doing a free flap reconstruction surgery, microvascular anastomosis plays a major role in that. As you know that microsuturing is the preliminary or the primitive thing of anastomosis being performed. After that, there is lot of advancement in that techniques. So there are many other non-suturing techniques that were evolved, and now I am going to discuss about what were the advantages of all these over the microsuturing techniques. So as we know, the success of the reconstructive surgery depends mainly on the surgical skill, the flap selection, and anastomosis, out of which anastomosis plays a major role in that. And when we are doing anastomosis, it is of two types, venous and arterial. And there is a difference in the anatomical structure of both artery and vein, the thickness of the vessel, and the muscular content, muscular layer thickness and all. And one most important thing that has to be considered in this is the nervi vasorum that supplies the parasympathetic activity to these vessels. So any injury to these or any insult to this nervi vasorum causes spasm to this muscle, so that results in constriction of the vessel. So just a brief, the microsuturing technique. In this is a conventional technique where we pass the suture that includes all the three layers of the vessel. So there are high chances for damaging the nervi vasorum that results in spasm of the muscle layer and occlusion of the vessel. The advantage is it is less cost. Next is the coupler anastomosis, and in this first, when we are doing this, we have to measure the diameter of the vessels with a gauge, and then appropriate size of the coupler will be selected. The vessels will be incorporated over the coupler rings and will be activated so that both the vessels will be brought together. And the disadvantage with this is a vessel mismatch. Suppose if we are going to perform anastomosis between different, it is difficult to perform anastomosis with this couplers, and it is costly. Next is the stapler anastomosis. This is micro staplers. This tip will be like an arcade, a bee sting. You can see the section there. So what happens is we will select the size of this stapler depending upon the diameter. We have different sizes, small, medium, and large. That shows the depth of penetration of this. So we can avoid the damage to the medial and the intimal layer, and this is costly. Next is the laser anastomosis, and this we are going to first approximate the vessels together, put methylene blue that acts as a heat sink, and even it will limit the extent of this laser energy into the deeper layers. The thing is, the time taken for performing this anastomosis with the laser is very much less when compared to all the previously discussed things. So the aim of this paper is to evaluate all this, the comparison of all these techniques, and we have done this in 40 patients, where 10 patients were included in each of groups, and my inclusion and exclusion criteria, which the patients who were requiring reconstructive surgeries that could be of secondary defects or maybe after the primary malignant resections. The parameters assessed were anastomotic time, flap ischemic time, leakage, and the patency. So these are the mean values of my study. The microsuturing, the anastomotic time was 19.8, whereas for the staplers it is 4.1, coupler 5.3 minutes, and laser is 3.8. Ischemic time 256 minutes for suturing, whereas staplers it is 139. For coupler 186 minutes, and laser is 139 minutes. Patency was assessed by milking test, where 20% of the cases has lacked immediate complete patency in case of suturing, whereas it is 100% in the non-suturing techniques, the stapler, coupler, and laser. Leakage was present, as I have already mentioned, leakage was assessed as grade 1 to 3. So we have encountered about grade 3 leakage in coupler, in microsuturing, which we have readdressed the site by placing additional sutures. This is a graphical representation of my study and their outcomes. The inference is, first, as we have seen that when there is a gradual decrease in the anastomotic time, so there is a gradual decrease in the total ischemic time of the flap. As per the Mainz plastic and reconstructive surgery, Any flap which extends beyond 140 to 150 minutes has a higher rate of flap failure. So, when we decrease the time of anastomosis, there will be a gradual decrease in the time of flap ischemia. So, when we reduce that, the flap survivability rate will be more. My take home message is non-suturing anastomotic techniques have a very good advantage over the suturing. This is only for the venous anastomosis, but not for the arterial, because these doesn't have that amount of pressure to take up, because the arteries have a high pressure and the pulsatile way of flow of the blood. So immediately post-op, when there is a sudden hike in the blood pressure, there are chances for give up of this type of non-switching techniques of anastomosis. So this is limited to venous anastomosis. Thank you.
You have tried the non-suturing techniques in venous anastomosis anytime?
Yes, sir. These are done only for venous anastomosis.
Do you
Non-switching.
have any post-operative hemorrhage due to anastomotic?
Sir, in non-switching anastomosis, as we do not have any leakage from the anastomotic side, so the hemorrhage or the internal bleed from the flap is not there. So we do not encounter. In microsuturing, we have encountered 2 cases with a second post-op hemorrhage at that particular site. So we have readdressed the site and we have placed suture.
How many cases are allotted in each?
10 cases for each, sir.
For each.
10 in each of the cases.
So you are telling the ischemic time is worse in suturing and
Less in laser, sir.
the less in laser.
Yes, sir. Like to complete one complete venous anastomosis, it hardly takes about 3 to 5 minutes, because when we subject the laser light, the laser